Hey guys, hello. Welcome to a live podcast recording of the Social Selling Sisterhood. I'm Lindsay Dollinger, and I am chatting today with Jaime Cosimati, and I am super excited about this, guys. I think you're going to absolutely love Jaime. So Jaime, tell us just a little bit about you, what you do, how you got to where you are, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I started with Pure Romance about 6 years ago, and that was actually my first direct sales job. I loved it. I met my upline. I was a sales associate at Dress Barn, and she came up to me and was like, I had heard about Pure Romance, but I never had a party. I never bought product, but I thought it was kind of cool. And so she was telling me about it. And I was super excited because I was like, wow, like this person's just like approaching me and like telling me about this business. And then what was kind of like awkward but cool, like I was just like this is gonna sound like really like kind of creepy, but I promise it's not. She was like across the store, and I remember thinking like, that girl is so pretty. Like, you know, there's just people out there that you're like, I wish I could look like that. She was one of those people where I was like, that girl's just so pretty. So when she came up to me and was like, hey, like I've been kind of watching you. You'd be really good at this. And I'm like, girl, I've been watching you. Like you are gorgeous. So it was meant to be. Yep. So I signed up, literally had no idea what I was doing. She was kind of like walking me through what to do, and I was just completely blocking it out. I was doing my own thing. And like I got the stuff to do the party, and I like remember I went to the party and I forgot to take the labels off. So I'm like tying my I'm like, oh guys, sorry, let me go ahead and just peel this guy off right here. And so by the way, Lindsay already knows, but I have 3 cats. So if you hear some whining and fighting in the background, I just adopted my 3rd. So we're still getting used to each other. So I just have learned to block it out. They'll they'll fight it out and they'll be fine. So yeah, they're both trying to use the litter box. So anyway,
problems.
Yeah. So anyway, so I like forgot to take the labels off, and I was like, what the heck am I doing? Like, and I had a guy roommate at the time too. So it was a little awkward. I kind of made it clear, I was like, unfortunately we are like women only, like I can't really have men around, but how do you say that to somebody that you live with? So I was like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna, there we go. Sorry about that. Ooh.
You're fine. It's no worries.
Anyway, okay, cool. So, anyway, so I was like, so like, what do I do? But anyway, so there was definitely some struggles, and it got to the point where, do you mind if I take care of this?
No, go for it. No worries at all. It's one of the things with our businesses that I love, which is why we can be busy moms and teachers and full-time employees and nurses and all the things. And we do our business when we can in pockets of time.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said, now the other 2 are fighting. I'm like, I'll just have to lock both of them away. But, so I, got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I have a guy roommate. What am I going to do? And luckily I was only on that lease for like 6 more months. So I was like, well, in the meantime,
peace out.
So, I was like, well, hopefully this is just my launch party. We'll do other parties like at other homes. So I won't have to worry about it as much. So with Pure Romance, so at that point, I was kind of doing parties. I was doing it well. Like I was, really doing well with my business. I was doing bachelorette parties. I was doing people that were that just had a baby and just needed a little bit more space in their life. So I was having fun. Well, where I worked at full time, I was a leasing consultant for apartment complexes for 5 years, and I got approached from another leasing agent that sold It Works. So I was like, wow, like, she already bought like a car with her money. Like she bought, at that point, oh my gosh, I forget what kind of car it was. But I remember I was like, wow, I want a car. I haven't gotten a car at Pure Romance. So like when you're still kind of young to direct sales, you kind of are like, oh, like, what, maybe I should try something else. Like,
it's like that shiny object syndrome where you're like, ooh, yeah.
You're like, oh, there's other things out there besides like sex toys and beauty products. So I was like, okay, well, I guess like I could try to give like that a shot. So, but at that point, I was kind of a point where I was like, I don't really want to do both. So I decided to take a break from Pure Romance. But then
really quickly, do you mind explaining to our listeners why you decided not to do both?
So I'm trying, and you know what? I'm trying to remember. I think Pure Romance at the time had a kind of a rule where they really didn't want people to sell two companies at once. Now they still have that rule, but it's only if you're a director level or higher. So, gotcha. I'm at the point where with my point with Pure Romance where I don't really want to sell anything else anyway. So I'm like, I think for me, it was like, it was just like, do I have the time to do two things? But I'm trying to think what it was. I think it was because there was a policy, but don't quote me on that. It might've just been, I just was like,
it's hard to grow multiple. Like I'm a pretty firm believer that you got to get one down like really good where it can like you're getting sales in your sleep and then you could add in another revenue stream. Exactly. And that goes for anything, not even direct sales, right? I mean, when our attention is split, then you're like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do this. And something slips through the cracks for sure.
Exactly.
Okay. So you switched companies.
Yep. And so I switched companies and I really was like, oh gosh, there they go. So I switched companies and I was at a point where I just wasn't really doing that well with It Works. I'm going to lock the other one up. Sorry.
Okay. Yep. Not a problem. Yeah, it's really hard. I have been working a business and then been like a discount coach or something, but not actively promoting products for something else. But I definitely have learned kind of the hard way when I'm like, oh, I would love to do a beauty company and I would love to sell clothes. And at some point there's going to be a conflict of interest of your time or your energy or something. And it's just hard. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're in It Works.
So I'm in It Works.
Wasn't really your thing.
Wasn't really my thing. And at the same time, then what was interesting was at the same time I got recruited to do Scentsy. So here I am. I'm like, I did Pure Romance. I'm currently doing It Works. And now somebody from Scentsy wants me on their team. And I'm like, okay, Jamie, woo-soo, calm down. Think about what you really want to do. So then I'm having like this, like, well, I'm kind of trying to do It Works. And, my coworkers are having all the success with It Works. And why am I not having the success with It Works? I was having success with Pure Romance and I took the risk. And now I'm kind of like, this isn't working out. So maybe I should try Scentsy. So at that point where I'm like, guys, well, I guess I'm just going to, go to Scentsy, and my coworkers were not happy about it. So it created a lot of drama at work that I couldn't have. So that got kind of interesting as well. So when direct sales start, kind of affecting your personal life, that's when it kind of, gets just a little messy. So, and I was really close with my upline at Pure Romance. And obviously with me kind of just leaving to go do something else, it didn't really rub her the right way either. And at the time, I didn't really understand why. I was like, why can't, we still be friends? And, I get it. Like, it's just, so.
So how long have you been back with your current company?
Yeah. So so long story short, with Scentsy, I realized, Scentsy was great and I have nothing to say about any company. My lesson at the end of the day was you have to do for one, what you're born to do best with. And what you are most passionate about. I think that's true for anybody. And I think you won't, for any business, if you don't work it the right way, you're not going to get the results you want. It doesn't matter I know people who have tried to sell 20 companies and they're like, it's just not working well for me. And I'm like, well, the thing is every company is the same. You have to put your heart and soul into it. You have to treat it like it's a job and not just a hobby. And, and you'll get the results that you want. So I joined, long story short, I left Scentsy. I still buy the heck out of their products. I love them to death. And I have been back with Pure Romance now, I think almost 3 years, but about a year ago, about 9 months ago is when I really kickstarted. I really just, something like woke me up and was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm treating this like a hobby. I'm not treating this like a job. This is like just something I do when I'm bored. And it shouldn't be treated that way. It should be treated as, oh, I'm lucky that I don't have to go clock in a part-time job.
Yes.
This is something that I should take those hours where I'd be spending at a job and use that time wisely, because if I do that, I'm going to get the results that I want.
Exactly. So what did that look like? Like, what did that, from your hobby shift to treating it like a business? Can you walk us through? So were you like, well, walk us through. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
So I got to the point where I think I really was only kind of like posting a picture here and there on my timeline on my Facebook. I was only following up my friends. And I think another thing that you personally know, Lindsay, is you can't always just rely on your friends and family to buy products. You have to just
100%.
start being really smart and like think outside the box and think, okay, how am I going to get different clientele? Because even like the clientele that you found, eventually they're going to be like, well, nope, I'm good on product right now. I'll reach back to you in 3 to 4 months. At that point, you're like, excuse me. At that point, you're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to have to find different clientele now. Like, people that have never used the products before, maybe their consultant went out of business or something. So, at that point I started, watching like YouTube videos and other things that were like, kind of insightful as to what else I could do.
Exactly. I love that. And you guys are Party Plan like my company is, which for me has been a really nice way to get new people in front of my products. And that's what I tell a lot of prospective stylists when I'm talking to them. I'm like, look, I've done these other companies, and I will say a huge perk to a Party Plan company is the influx of new customers if you're having the parties, if you can find some people to do some parties.
And that's definitely true. It's, but it's a matter of, finding new people to do parties. Because after you do, once you find people to do a party, they usually don't want to do a party again, like right off the bat. So, usually they only do it for like a special occasion, or maybe, once they're out of product and they want something like a little bit more discounted or something like that.
Right. Now, talk about how you've used social media to grow your business, because I definitely see you on social media.
Yeah. So I think Facebook is great. What I personally do, and I haven't really told a lot of people this, so for those listening, you're welcome. I join a lot of direct sales Facebook groups. So I just search direct sales. And I join those groups, and new ones are always popping up. And, some of those groups, they're great because they have like 25,000 or more people. But you have to keep in mind that, there's also a crap ton of people posting at the same time. And thanks to Facebook algorithms, not everybody's going to see your post. So what I was doing for a while, and the reason I'll get to the reason I'm not doing this right now is because what I was doing for a while was I was posting every day. So I was making an effort to tell myself, okay, so one day I'm going to post about, we're having a kit sale. And then tomorrow I'm going to post, hey, I'm looking to get rid of $100 worth of free products who might be interested. And then people reach out and I say, great, I could give you $100 in free products if you host a girls' night with me. And then the next night would be, I'm having a discount on my inventory. I'm looking to clear some room, who would be interested, I might post a picture to try to get people's attention. So, and a lot of times it works. Right. Just and this month I've just been really crazy busy this month. And I'll be honest, I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon really for the first time in 9 months. And you can tell because my sales are not where they need to be. And I know that. And, and I think we're all guilty of life happens, things get in the way. And you're just like, you know what, that's just going to have to come later. And, I don't want to treat my business that way. So it's hard to like say that out loud.
It is. Yeah,
it is. It's hard. Cause like I said, this is my second job. So when I'm not doing the work, the money's not coming in, I'm not meeting as many new people. But at the end of the day, you just have to, realize where you're at and kick yourself back up.
Yeah, 100%. So when do you find time to work your business? Do you have a set time you do it? Do you break it up?
Honestly, I don't really do a set time, and that's probably another thing that I could probably do better.
You're like, note to self. No, I get it, because I don't always.
Yeah, so I normally work at my big girl job 8:30 to 5. So typically I get home once I eat dinner and stuff, I typically wind down around like 7:30. And at that point, that's kind of when I use my like chill time to kind of get on my phone and start posting. And I have a lot of consultant sister friends that use Instagram. I don't really use Instagram, but I've kind of looked into like maybe I should start using Instagram more. But like I was saying, I definitely use a lot of Facebook. I think that's my primary, social tool to get the word out there. So yeah, time-wise, I'd say, it's usually in the evenings or on the weekends. I'm one of those people, like if I realize that I'm just scrolling on Facebook and I really have no like reason to be on there, I'll snap out of it and say, okay, what can I be doing productive right now on Facebook?
I love it. Yeah. And well, that's the thing is, I think if so many people realized how much time they were actually spent scrolling social media and how they could monetize that and use at least some of that time to be making money in their own business and building something that's theirs, they would give it a shot.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you guys I know you specifically have like an amazing following of women. Talk to me about how you kind of build your sisterhood, whether it's through your parties or your team or, your company or whatnot. How do you guys create that culture?
Yeah, so a couple things. My VIP group, I have my VIP group's kind of small, and it's not number-wise, it's not where I need to be, but it's great because I think a lot of my clients are kind of starting to like know each other by like name and things. So when they see, and I'm getting to the point where my clients feel comfortable posting. Like yesterday, one of my clients posted a picture, and it was like it was just like a funny picture, and girls were responding and like really interacting on the post, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like I didn't even post that. Like one of my clients did, and people are still interacting. They're not like, oh well, who's that girl posting? So I think VIP groups are great. That's definitely one thing. And then the other thing too is obviously with COVID, things have kind of shifted a different direction with this, but I love our annual conferences with Pure Romance. We, just getting everybody together. It's like, there's just no way to describe it. It's so much fun.
Conferences are the best.
They really are.
Now, are you guys planning one for this year in person? Do you know yet?
So, we do 2 conferences. We do a world conference, and then we do national training. So our world conference is usually in April, and then our national is in August. As of now, we are doing a virtual for world conference in August. So I think in April. So I think August is still TBD. Last year we ended up combining both and then just doing one big one on YouTube. And it was free for everybody to attend, obviously, since it was online. But it's just my team still got together to celebrate. We did like drinks and apps and stuff, but it's different when you get to see your sisterhood friends from all over the world.
Yeah. They just announced like a much smaller version of the in-person one. But I still think that's TBD. Like, I don't think they really know.
Yeah, everything's up in the air this year still.
Yeah, I told my team, I was like, even if it gets canceled, I have an Airbnb for 12 people in Orlando. So we're going and we'll watch it virtually there.
Anybody that feels comfortable to go is totally welcome. So
Yep, 100%. Let's see if I had anything else on here. I kind of think we chatted about most of it. So what is one thing, looking back on all of your experience in direct sales that you've had, that you would tell that you would tell someone getting ready to start a business? What's one or maybe even 2 pieces of advice you would give to someone saying, hey, Jamie, whether it's joining your company or any company, like, I think I'm going to join a direct sales or a party plan company. What's some advice you could give me?
Yeah. So one of the one things I've already mentioned, and I can't stress this enough, is you really have to treat this like you would a job. And, I hate saying that because it sounds boring when I say that, but it's true for anything. I think if you put in the work and you put in the passion and the meaning for it, it's going to spurt back out to you, and the results are going to come. And, bouncing off of that, success doesn't happen overnight. You have to remember, and I still think about this quote, Rome wasn't built in a day. So you have to remember that, you might be posting all over the place. You might have just started your business. You know what? One party on the books is better than no parties on the books. And
Yep.
having one sale a day is better than no sales. Like and then you have to remember where you came from. For me, it's like, 2 years ago, I wasn't, like I said, I was posting one picture, maybe one picture a week, if that, maybe even only one picture a month. I was texting friends and family to see if they wanted to order anything, but I wasn't really trying to get new people. And so if you're really, like I said, if you do your time and really just think about, other ways to go outside the box. And again, just spend that little extra 30 minutes that you're, spending on Facebook or, just, watching TV or what have you, actually working your business. Again, 30 minutes a day can go a really long way.
It can 100%. And I loved how you said earlier about how you got on and you looked up YouTube and you really took your business in your own hands. Like you were going to learn the things. I did the same thing with every company I joined, especially when I went from a non-party plan to a party plan. I'm like, okay, I got to book parties. I don't know how to book parties. YouTube is my friend. Like I got to find all the free trainings and do all the things. And we're going to make mistakes. Like you're going to maybe switch companies until you find one that's for you. Or maybe you started.
Like I said earlier, I have nothing against, the other two companies. And that's why I wasn't afraid to say the names. Cause I'm like, I still have the It Works, one of the It Works creams in my bathroom right now. And again, I still have like so much Scentsy. People think I sell it because I have so much of it. I love to do Scentsy parties all the time to get the perks. But for me, it's just, this personally was what worked best. But again, for anybody, I mean, if you start doing direct sales and you're doing one company after another company and you're not seeing the results you want, I hate to say this, but you might have to look in the mirror and change what you're doing and figuring out, maybe this isn't the company. Maybe this is something that I need to adjust for myself.
Yep, 100%. And I'm the same way. I still use all the products from the companies. I still talk to my teams from the other ones. But you have to find the thing that works for you, and then you have to put the time in. Rob Sperry just did a really awesome quote or a post like a day ago, and he's made a very similar one before where he was saying, if you've been in business less than 6 months and you already quit or you're getting ready to quit, he basically was like, it's not the business, it's you. And like, you could have tried harder. You 100% could have done something different. And it is, I mean, and it might be hard to hear. And those are those conversations that, I even have with some of my teammates all the time when they're like, nothing's working. Excuse me. And I'm like, but we got to find other things to try.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. And that's one struggle that I've had recently is, I've done well when it comes to booking parties and getting sales, but on the recruiting end of things, a lot of girls that I've had recently join the business for a month or two. And then they're like, they just kind of fell off the bandwagon, or it's, I'm doing 2 other direct sales companies. I just don't know if I have the time or, what have you. And, I hate it because 1, I feel like they just wasted their money. And 2, they're wasting their time. And, and 3, if they really actually worked, and got the results they wanted, it could be great for them. But unfortunately, there's only so much hand holding that you can do until you can be like, what, like you're a big girl and you can do what you need to do. And, if you want to come back, I'm here. But otherwise, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, and I do think a little bit our industry in general is really bad about setting the expectations that it is a business and it's not going to just be super easy.
That is so true, especially when you have people who you see have these huge numbers and, you're like, oh, they're making full-time income. But those leaders, I'm not speaking for all the leaders, but some of those leaders are not great about saying, I've been in the business for 12 years. It took me a long time to get to this full-time status or, things like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Lindsay. I think that a lot of people just go in thinking, yeah, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and, I'm going to have $3,000 in my pocket. Like, and unfortunately, a lot of these leaders have been working the business for 5+ years.
And they've made sacrifices and given up stuff and said no to a date night or said no to this or said, like, I was telling someone, I actually noticed a difference in my business when I watched that Bridgerton series because I never watched Netflix. I don't watch TV. So
I don't either.
When I binged it for 2 weekends, that was my work time.
Great things about it.
Oh, it was good. I mean, it was worth it for sure. But then when I looked back, I was like, what was the difference? And I was like, oh, I normally on Saturday nights will have like, I'll have something on, but I'm not like really watching it. I'm like also scheduling posts or doing things.
Exactly.
And I was actually watching it, not doing some stuff for my business. So I was like, okay, well, that was like 7 hours that I normally would work to my business, and I spent it watching TV. So, you make little sacrifices, and I'm not sorry for giving up, some TV shows to build my business, but
right. Every once in a while we got to do that. But I mean, but it's one of those things that I think people, again, like there's so many people I know people that will just binge Netflix every day and be on Facebook for hours on end. And I'm like, you could be using that time to create a business. And it doesn't have to be direct sales. It could be any business, whether you're, good at doing makeup or you're good at sewing and doing crafting. Like, I think it's so important to have a side hustle. Most of the people that I work with at my 9-to-5 job have a side hustle or have thought about getting into one. And, to all the ones that are not in one yet, I've been so encouraging. I'm like, there's no reason for you to get a part-time job. There's so many resources out there nowadays where you can easily, create your own business and do your own thing.
Yeah. My dad even said to me, this was probably a couple years ago now, but he was like, I don't know why you don't, it was probably around the holidays, but like get a part-time job working at, Target or Kohl's or somewhere. And I had just started my Color Street business. And I was like, Dad, I was like, why would I do that? Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm like, why would I do that? Making like, I don't know how much they make.
$10 an hour.
I'm like, I don't even know. That's horrible. I don't even know really what minimum wage is anymore, but I'm like, why would I do that when I could spend that time building my business? Like, he didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, I can make so much more if I'm actually using that time productively in my business.
Exactly.
Which he doesn't say about it.
Yeah, like I don't know what your commission is, but again, if you're selling 3 nail strips to one person, I mean, that alone is probably,
that's
$10. That's money that, that's easy money versus money that, where you're going to have to go stand on your feet for an hour working at Kohl's. And, I could definitely relate to that. I was, especially right out of college, I was just trying to make ends meet and not have to move back in with mom and dad. So I was working a bunch of part-time jobs, and, a lot of those part-time jobs only paid $8, $9, $10 an hour. And now, it's funny because when I do parties and things, I think in my head, how much is that hourly? And then I'm like, oh, that was like $30 an hour. I would have never got that with a part-time job.
Exactly. That's how I go into thinking about events too. When we do in-person events, like I had a really awesome one around Christmas time. This would have been 2 Christmases ago. I sold $900, and that was like pure profit. It was free product I got, and I sold it for $900.
That's
and it
rent. That's a mortgage. That's rent. That's payment.
It was like everything. 5 hours, and I was like, there's literally nothing that I can do at this point where I would make that hourly wage.
Wow.
So there's definitely something to be said for it if people are willing to give it a try. And I mean, not all my events are like that, obviously. There's some that, and I'm sure there's some parties you go to that you're like, okay, I'm just now in the whole negative.
Right, exactly.
Negative if people don't buy.
But the way that I look at it is, even if you got one party from that party, or you got, one loyal customer. I recently did an online vendor event, which I'm trying to get more in the hang of doing. It's just so different because I'm used to doing in-person events, but I've been doing like the online Facebook ones. And there was one that I did that, it was kind of slow. And I was like, man, I spent $10 to enter into this. This kind of sucks. I got one girl off of it that ordered, and I was like, okay, cool. Like she ordered $50 with the product, and okay, got my money back. Well, since then she's ordered 4 more times.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and she joined my VIP group, and she said, my sister used to sell, she's not a consultant anymore. So I've been just looking for a new one. And I'm like, hello. Hi.
Perfect.
She's been like really active in my VIP group. She's been really exciting. And I'm like, wow, like the fact that I got, one loyal customer now off of that $10 vendor event, it's worth it.
100%. And I firmly believe you bring the same amount of energy, whether you have one person in that party or whether you have 25 people buying, because that one person could very well be your next best VIP. They could turn into a consultant, or introduce you to someone who turns into a consultant. Like you never know for sure.
Yep.
Well, awesome, Jamie. This has been such a great chat.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, I've been asking all my podcast guests where their favorite place to travel is, or where they've ever traveled that's their favorite place.
So as most of my friends know, I actually am huge about going to Las Vegas, and I've been really bummed because I went every year since 2013, and last year was the first year I didn't get to go. Thank you, COVID.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm actually going this summer for my friend's 30th, so that'll kind of make up for it, I think. Yeah, I've out of country. I've never been. I've been to Canada, which doesn't count, and I'm going I'm going to Hawaii for my first time this year, which again doesn't count, but it's great because it's somewhere I've never been. So
I've never been to Hawaii. Yeah, I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, me too. But I'm Italian, so would love to go over there for sure. Italy would definitely be on my list, and Paris is also on my list. Although I haven't heard the greatest things about Paris.
Yeah, I need to go back as an adult. I've only ever been. That was my first international trip that was not Canada, Mexico. In my high school, so my high school Spanish teacher didn't take people abroad, which I took Spanish. But my high school French teacher, the neighboring school, did. And I was like, I want to go. So we went to France and England. And so my only impression of Paris, the Eiffel Tower was cool, but I'm really afraid of heights. So I don't ever have to do that again. Like, I'm okay with never doing that again. Mm-hmm. We went at night, though, so it wasn't as scary. But I also feel like it was pretty, but you couldn't, like, see,
Yeah.
But so my only impression was that we went right after the U.S. entered Iraq. It was like 2002, 2003. So we went right after that. So everyone was protesting America everywhere. They were like burning American flags.
Oh, no.
And then I got yelled at by this woman in the metro. She was screaming at me in French because she was like trying to get through the turnstile at the same time I was. I was 16. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, and I don't speak French. Like, and then she switched to English and called me all these bad names in English.
Oh no!
And ended up hopping over the turnstile. I was like, "Whoa, Paris is a lot." Like,
yeah, no, and that's what I've heard, that the people there are like very aggressive. Like they know that you're not from there, and they're not afraid to show it. Great question. So since I know you like to go to Disney, since you're afraid of heights, what do you like to do there?
Really anything at Disney. I do not do the tower drop, the Tower of Terror at Hollywood Studios. That does not happen. I did that one time and I was like, this is the worst. Just being afraid of heights and also of like anything skydiving or whatever. But oh my gosh, I love everything about Disney. But I really like the Soarin' ride.
Okay.
Do you know what the Soarin' ride is?
It's been a while. I haven't gone in probably like 15 years. So
okay, it's in Epcot. Oh, okay. And actually it travels through like around the world.
Yeah, okay.
Like a hang glider. Yeah. Which actually it goes around the Eiffel Tower.
I'd be fine with like a hang glider. That'd be okay.
Yeah. It was and it's like a simulator kind of. So you're lifted off the ground. I don't know how far, not too far, too off the bad. But you can smell like the smells and feel like the water and stuff, and it's really cool. So that's probably my favorite. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to go back again sometime.
Yeah, you got to. It's changed a lot. If you haven't been there for 15 years.
Yeah. Plus, I can go to Disney World and drink.
That's right. Epcot around the world, girl.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie. Where can people connect with you if they would like to find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook under Jaime Lynn Cosimati. It's Cosimati. And then I do have my VIP group is private. So if you add me on Facebook, I can get you added to that.
Awesome. All right, guys, definitely check out Jamie. Check out her VIP group. And thank you so much for your time and your tips. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me, Lindsay.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.